This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
We are live. Welcome in to another Sunday live stream with your boys here on the Fantasy Roadshow. I am Truck, and I'm joined as always by Shane O'Mac. Shane, how are you doing on this beautiful Sunday morning, week 3?
Man, I am good. I just downed some breakfast taquitos with some cinnamon rolls, so
nice.
I'm feeling nice.
Nice. I got my cup of coffee. I'm good to go. I'm gonna hold off on breakfast. Got a big gotta save on my appetite. I'm going over to Wings and Rings for the football game. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about Wings and Rings, they're delicious. Go check them out if you're in the Chicagoland area. But yeah, man, we're here talking week 3. You know, it's already here. There's a lot of injuries to talk about. That's what we're gonna get through first. Then if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop in. We already got Porter joining us. What's up, Porter? Oh yeah. First, what's going on? Skylar Thompson or Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, not even close. 2-quarterback league. Yeah, I'm Kirk Cousins. I mean, right? Why do we don't? Yeah, go ahead.
It's Cousins. Like it's that should be a game script where they're behind, so they're gonna throw the ball more. Porter. So Atlanta is gonna be throwing the ball a lot tonight, whereas Seattle's probably going to shut that Miami offense with Skylar Thompson down. I don't think he's thrown for more than like 160 yards in a start in his career. So just lean on Cousins. And I think you get at least what he gave you last week as far as fantasy production.
Yeah. I mean, just Skylar, I can't. I'm just staying away from all the pass catchers. And maybe a little Devon Achane. I think Devon Achane. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for your question, buddy, and appreciate it. Against KC, though, yeah, no, I get it, but I think Kirk Cousins, he's gonna be playing from behind probably, and he looked better last week than he did the first week. So I liked what I saw from him last week. He had that game-winning touchdown drive. So. All right. Well, let's get into some injuries. Okay, there's a lot going on. We have the little ticker down there on the bottom, so you guys can watch out for that. We'll update that as the morning goes and we get some updates. But Jordan Love, 55% chance of playing. He has a high re-injury risk, so probably limited mobility if he plays. They don't expect him to play. I don't expect him to play. I think it's going to be Malik Willis today and the Josh Jacobs show. AJ Brown is out. This is no secret. You guys should already know this. He should be back week 4. Monitor practice reports. Justin Herbert is a game time decision. Data shows he has a 40% chance of playing. He should be back week 4 if he misses today. By the way, make sure you follow Deepak Chona, Fantasy Doctor on Twitter. It's where I'm getting all my information from. He does great work on Twitter, and go check him out.
I will just say a report came through saying the CBS reporter was asking Quentin Johnson about who he thought was going to be starting, and Quentin Johnson said he fully expects Justin Herbert to start and play this game. So
yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I expect him to as well, but we'll see what happens. Josh Jacobs or Swift, DeAndre Swift. That's interesting. I like Swift this week. The Colts are giving up, I think, the most rushing yards so far on the season. Let's see here. Yes, they are. They've given up 350 rushing yards on the season, most in the NFL. So I do like Swift, but Josh Jacobs, it's hard to go away from him with Malik Willis at quarterback. You saw what he did last week. He was just running all over the Colts. Probably the reason why the Colts are giving up the most rushing yards is because of Josh Jacobs. But I don't know, Shane, where do you go here? Because I like Swift. I'm kind of biased with my Bears hat on, but I feel like Josh Jacobs is the right answer.
Yeah, I think it's Jacobs just on volume. Tennessee is a tough rush defense. I think they give up like the 5th or 6th fewest rushing yards per game, but this will be another game where Jacobs is probably inching towards 30 rush attempts. And anytime I'm going to get 30 rush attempts from my running back, I'm going to take that. I'm a little bit concerned with Swift. Like, I don't know if we'll start to see a little bit more of Herbert worked in at times. He was brought in for that goal line touchdown last week, but it's Jacobs based on volume.
Yeah, and Jordan Love is not officially ruled out. I don't anticipate him playing. Reports are showing that he's a game time decision. Deepak Chona on Twitter says he's got a 40% chance of playing. I don't really like those odds. I think they keep him out another week. He's their franchise guy. They just paid him. They don't want him to come in. They played well last week, and I just don't see that them risking that by playing Jordan Love this week.
Yeah, and I think a sign for me that he's not going to play is they activated a quarterback off of the practice squad late yesterday. So that's a sign that he's probably not even going to be like a backup option.
Yeah, that's a great point that I had no idea about. Anyway, T. Higgins is playing, and that's great to see. We love the Bengals this week. We think they're going to go off, and having T. Higgins in the offense is just an extra step up for that offense. So Kittle is going to be out. He should be back week 5. Data shows average out 2 weeks with that injury. Kenneth Walker is out. He should be back week 4 without limitations. So be on the lookout for that. Joe Mixon is out. He's got a high ankle injury, average 2 to 3 weeks. Could be back week 4, possibly week 5. Monitor injury reports throughout the week next week. Deebo Samuel is out. He could miss week 4 as well. And wide receivers with a calf injury have a really high risk of re-injury. So be on the lookout for that. Jonathan Brooks could be back week 5. That's what I'm seeing on the reports. Now, he's probably not going to be fully 100% with a full workload by week 9. We'll expect to see that later on in the season, but we could see him on the field as early as week 5. Let's see how the Panthers end up playing today with the Red Rocket at the helm. So Jordan Addison is out. Could be back week 5. Keenan Allen has plantar fasciitis, high re-injury risk, and he's leaning week 5 return. David Njoku is out. Could be back week 4. Most likely week 5. You got to monitor those practice reports like always. Christian McCaffrey, they're saying he's could be back week 7, but he's probably not going to be 100% the rest of the season. So this is something we'll be talking about every week. Jake Ferguson is a game time decision, but Deepak says the data favors him playing. So Shane, have you heard any reports about Jake Ferguson?
Yeah, all the local beat writers reports are expecting Ferguson to play, so I would expect him. I know he's a late game. He was really, really close actually last week to playing, so I would be shocked if he's not playing today.
Okay, you heard it there from Shane O'Mac. He is going to be in the lineup. Evan Ingram is out. Should be back next week. Got to monitor those reports. Pacheco, we already know about him. Out 8 weeks is realistic, but we'll see what happens as the season progresses. Probably won't be 100% the rest of the year. Players that are going to be playing without limitations that were on the injury report previously is DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, all the studs. Those guys are going to be in the lineup, full go, ready to go without limitations. And then Greg Dortch was a late injury add to the report. Data shows 45% chance of playing. So we'll update this information as the morning progresses. But if you guys have any questions about your start sets, please fire them off. Shane, what do you got going on today, man? What is up? Oh, before we do that, Danny Cousins, what's going on, Danny? Need one running back from Connor, Pollard, Rachaad White, and Kyren Williams. Need one in PPR. I really like Pollard this week. Connor's matchup isn't great, although he's been playing really well. Kyren Williams should be very active in this offense without those wide receivers. I expect him to be very active in the passing game. And Rachaad White was just kind of questionable all week, so I'm kind of fading him right now. So my answer is between Pollard and Kyren Williams, and I'm probably going Kyren. Shane, where do you go here?
Yeah, it's tough for me. This one's between Kyren and Connor. You're right. Like after Kupp left last week, I think I saw it was Kyren got, I think it was 4 or 5 targets in the passing game. So he was active. I think I'm going to lean on James Conner for my call on this, just because the Rams are giving up, the 3rd most rushing yards per game. He's stacked in the volume. And I think conversely, Arizona is like top 10 in rushing yards.
Yes.
Fewest rushing yards allowed. I think the Rams sorry, I've got my matchups mixed up. Connor's playing the 49ers. Kyren I mean, Kyron is playing the 49ers.
Kyron's
Connor is playing the
49ers.
Lions.
Yes.
Yeah, so I got my matchups mixed up. But I still like Connor from a volume standpoint. My worry about Kyron is just the Rams with their injuries on the line, receiver, being able to move the ball enough against the 49ers. But it's close to me between those two guys, but I'm going to lean Connor.
I'll ride with you on that because I love Connor. I know it was between Kyron and Pollard for me. I think Pollard has a good game, but PPR, I do think Connor has a good game. So we'll see. What's your thoughts on the Texans defense for today? Texans are playing in Minnesota against the Vikings. Vikings are 2-0. They just beat the 49ers last week. I mean, the Texans defense is really good. I like the defense, but anytime you're playing Justin Jefferson, that's tough. Tough matchup. So I think the Texans defense, if you're starting them, I think they're going to be startable. I think they're going to get you points, but probably not many. So
yeah, and I think if you're asking about like if you should drop them for another one, I think I would just hold them. I think Darnold, he could take a couple of sacks, he could force a turnover. And then I was just looking at their schedule, like they've got the Jags coming up. They will have to face the Bills, but then after the Bills, they've got the Patriots. So they've got some nice matchups coming up. So I don't know if I would drop them for this week.
Yeah, I agree. B. Cork, morning, buddy. Top of the morning to you. How you doing? Sam and Russell, thanks for joining. Is it time to trade Kelsey and Andrews? Is it time to panic? Kelsey is getting older, okay? And the reason why they drafted Xavier Worthy and signed Hollywood Brown is because they don't want to hyper focus on Kelsey in this offense. So I don't think it's time to trade Kelsey. He gets rolling as the season progresses, so you're going to see better games from him as the weeks go on. And with Andrews, I'm not panicking with Andrews. Andrews is still a big part of this offense. We saw him outproduce Isaiah Likely last week. So, if you want to trade him, I don't mind it, depending on who you're trying to get. But I don't think you got to sell them right now. Their value is pretty low on the market. So you're not going to get what you would normally get for them. So I would not be trading them personally.
No, I think Kelsey actually is someone would look at if I didn't have a great tight end option to buy low on. I think with Pacheco out, he could start seeing some good games coming up. Yeah. Just a couple quick quarterback news. Justin Herbert is starting and active. Jordan Love, as we expected, is inactive.
Okay, so Justin Herbert is in and Jordan Love is out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Shane, go ahead and take the reins on this one.
So we got Swift, B-Rob, James Conner, pick 2. Like I said, so for me, I am going with James Conner first. Just the volume, the offense, even against the tougher Lions rush defense. I'm not going away from James Conner with his involvement in that offense. Swift at the Colts is a good matchup, but like I said, I'm a little concerned about working in Herbert a little bit more. I was going to look here. The Robinson is playing the Bengals. Bengals are 26th in the league in rushing yards allowed per game. So for me, I'm going B. Robinson and James Conner.
Yeah, I don't think you can go either. I don't think you can go wrong with picking 2 out of these 3. Whether you go Swift and B-Rob, Swift and Conner, B-Rob and Conner, however you do it, I don't think you can really go wrong. Love what Brian Robinson did last week. I love Swift's matchup this week. Travis Homer is out, so you're absolutely right, Shane. They could be bringing in Khalil Herbert a little bit more, but I don't think you can go wrong. I expect the Bears to have a big game, so I want pieces of the Bears. Obviously, I'm watching them closely as a Bears fan, and B. Cork, I'm sure you are too. If you want to go B-Rob and Conner, go ahead, do it. I don't think you can go wrong with any one of those decisions. Ford or Charbonnet? I'm going to go with Charbonnet. I like his matchup this week. Jerome Ford got outran last week by what's his name? Deontay Foreman. Deontay Foreman outcarried him 14-7 last week, so that's not very good to see. Cleveland is playing New York, so good matchup for Ford. He could get into the end zone, but I just didn't like the split that he was having with Foreman last week. And Charbonnet had a good game last week, and I like him this week. I think he could have a big game.
Yep. Dolphins
at home against Miami.
Dolphins give up the 6th most fantasy points to running backs. Charbonnet had all the running back rush attempts last week. That they should be up in the second half. So this should be. He's probably I had listed him as my smash start of the week. He's set up for a big game.
Boom! There you go, Granny. Got to start Charbonnet. You heard it from Shane O'Mac. Smash start. What's up, Steve Stewart? How you doing this morning? I have Perine and Steele. Which one of them would you start or pick up Akers to start instead? So between Perine and Steele, I think this game is more of a Steele game. Personally, I'd be rolling Steele over Perine. I think eventually Steele is going to get phased out with the addition of Kareem Hunt and Perine getting more involved. But I feel like Steele could have a big game this game, so I'm going him. However, I think I'm picking up Akers and starting Akers over both of them. Shane, where are you at with this question?
Man, I have gone back and forth on trying to figure out this Kansas City backfield. And then how I came about it is now I think if you're going to go with one of the Chiefs guy, I agree. I think I'm going to lean Steele. I'm going to lean the guy who's been in the system all offseason, all preseason, who will have the goal line touches, the goal line opportunities probably.
And we saw him have some big games in the preseason too.
Yeah, I think he gets more rush attempts, so I would lean there.
More rush attempts and better opportunity to score a touchdown.
Yeah. If you've got somebody at the end of your bench, though, I wouldn't mind picking up Akers and probably starting him. I would just, based on the volume with Pierce out and Mixon out, he's probably looking at the majority of the touches in that game. Minnesota's a pretty decent rush defense. They've only given up, I think, like 90 yards rushing per game. But if you're telling me I'm going to start a guy who's probably going to get 20 touches versus I'm trying to figure out if Steele can get 10 or more, I'll just go with the volume.
And honestly, Mixon might miss next week as well.
He could.
They're at home next week. Who are they playing next week? You just said it. I can't think of it right now. Houston's at home against Jacksonville next week. So, Akers, if he has a big game this week, we could see a lot of him next week as well. So I'm going Akers.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. But anyway, Shane, what do you got on the agenda for today, buddy? What's on your agenda? What games are you looking forward to? You popping back some Coronas? What are you doing?
Well, it's not Corona season officially in the Shane O'Mac household. It is. We have officially made the switch as of last week. We are now fully invested in Oktoberfest beer. So Sam Adams Oktoberfest. That is what we are locked into now for the next 2 or 3 months. With the frosted mugs, I'll pull out of the freezer later today to pour it in.
A little frosted schooner action.
Yeah, I'll be pouring that about 3:15 as the Cowboys and Ravens kick off. So that's going to be. We'll talk about it, but this is a huge game for both teams and fan bases. I mean, one of these teams, one could go 1-2, and one could go to 0-3. So it's a big game.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of big games.
And then I just like today, like, I don't know if you've noticed it, like as a red zone watcher, like I like the division of games. I think it's 7 in the early window and 5 in the late, so it's not like last week where it was so one-sided in the early window.
I'll be honest, I don't watch red zone.
Oh my God.
I usually do. And in previous years I was like glued to red zone at home.
Yes.
That's when I had it. Now I like to go out and I like to, go to a bar that has every game on a big wall. You know what I mean? Like a B-Dubs or like I'm going to a Wings and Rings today. I like doing that because I get to actually see, pick and choose what I'm watching just by turning my head, as opposed to, you got to zone in on one game or they do the quad box or stuff like that. So interested in Sunday NFL Sunday ticket with YouTube, but it's just so expensive.
Oh, that's really expensive. I mean, red zone is manageable, but the Sunday ticket is, it's awful.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's just roll through some of these games. We got the Cleveland Browns at home against the New York Giants. I think this is kind of a gross game. I don't see this being a lot of fireworks. It was interesting to see Malik Neighbors get hyper targeted last week. He had like 18 targets or something, finishing the game with. Cleveland, I just, I don't know what to think about this offense. I don't really want to start any pieces on it. Amari Cooper is a huge risk right now. What do you see here in this game?
Man, if it doesn't happen for Amari Cooper this week, it is really, really panic time because
for sure
it should set up for a big game for him to come back on. And I don't want any part of starting Devin Singletary in this game. And I've got Malik Neighbors in multiple leagues, and I'm pretty nervous today about what he's going to be able to do.
Yeah. Cleveland is favored by 6.5. Over under is 38.5. Kind of a low over under for the week. One of the lowest, second lowest, behind the next game we'll talk about is Tennessee Titans at home against Green Bay Packers. We'll see how Will Levis does this week. Like, is he going to make another terrible decision and just an absolute boneheaded move on the field? We'll see, man. I don't know, but I like Tony Pollard in this game. I like Josh Jacobs in this game. And I'm staying away from all Packers wide receivers, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. And I want to see how Calvin Ridley does. I want to see if Calvin Ridley has another big game. So Tennessee is favored by 3 at home. Lowest over under the week is 37.5. Another gross game. I don't want many pieces outside of the running backs in this game.
Yeah, nothing excites me on this one except Pollard. That's a good matchup against the Green Bay rush defense. But yeah, otherwise I'm benching everybody until Jordan Love gets back on the Green Bay side. Yeah,
I like James, or I like Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard to score a touchdown. I like them anytime touchdown this week. And I like Tony Pollard's rushing and Jacobs rushing overs.
Yep.
All right. The Indianapolis Colts are at home against my Chicago Bears. The Colts are favored by 2 at 43.5 over under. I think this is a good game for Chicago, a good game for the Bears to kind of, gain some confidence. We saw this Indianapolis front, their defensive line, not really get much pressure through the first 2 weeks. And that's the biggest issue right now for the Bears. So going against a team that doesn't really pressure the quarterback is a good sign for me to see the Bears kind of in full action. I know we don't have Keenan Allen, and that sucks because Keenan Allen is a major security blanket for Caleb Williams and his confidence building. But I think DJ Moore has a smash game. I really think that Rome Odunze finds the end zone and gets a touchdown this week.
Mm-hmm.
I like DeAndre Swift to have a big game against a bad Indianapolis Colts who's given up the most rushing yards on the season. So really big on that. But we have a question here from B Core. I traded away Amon-Ra for Chase. Did I throw? This is tough. I prefer having Chase over Amon-Ra the rest of the season, especially with the ascension of Jameson Williams. We saw him be heavily involved. So I would have done the same move if someone had Chase and I had Amon-Ra and they offered me the trade. I'm fine with that. I still think Chase has a better year than Amon-Ra, but it's kind of a apple for apple kind of move for me. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I've got St. Brown in a couple of leagues, and I was just thinking about that this week about seeing maybe what I could get for him because he had a good game last week, but like you said, Jameson Williams is more than just a one route pony now. Like they are moving him around, and we still haven't seen like a big target catch game from Laporta. So, and they've got such a strong running game with both running backs. I don't mind it. I'm kind of thinking about looking at seeing what I can get for St. Brown, and I think you've bought him perfectly probably with Chase getting him right now.
Yeah. And then should I keep the Texans? Do you drop it? We told you keep them. We think you should keep them. They're taking on the Jaguars next week at home. We think that's a good matchup for the Texans defense. So hold on to them.
Yep.
And then as far as the Colts being at home, I think the Bears pass defense is really good. So I think Anthony Richardson runs the ball pretty well. I like his rushing over. And I think with the Colts, I'm curious to see how Alec Pierce in his third game. He was the leading receiver first 2 games. Michael Pittman is questionable, so we'll see if he even plays game time decision. And Jonathan Taylor, the Bears run defense hasn't just lived up to it. So I think Jonathan Taylor is a big game as well. So anything else in this matchup, Shane?
No, this is going to be worrisome. Pittman's questionable, but to play, you've got, he's already competing for targets, and now you're getting, I'm blanking on his name that's coming back and playing this week.
Josh Downs.
Josh Downs coming. So this is, if you haven't sold Pittman by now, this could be your last week. I'm a little concerned there.
Yeah. Sam and Russell, can you give your opinion on the Steelers? Are they winning because they are playing bad teams? Is Russell going to keep the bench warm until his contract is up? Yeah, for me, as long as the Steelers keep winning the games, Justin Fields is going to stay the quarterback. Their second half of the season is just a gauntlet. They play all their divisional games kind of back to back to back, and that's going to be tough sledding for them later on. But they're winning games because they're a good football team with a good coach. Their defense is elite, and Justin Fields is playing really well right now. He doesn't have to do too much to win these games. So I think the Steelers go 3-0 this week. I think they win their game, and I think Justin Fields is going to stay the quarterback. Now, later on in the season, when they're playing these tough teams in the division, I think that's when you're going to see Justin Fields start to struggle, and they're probably going to bring Russell Wilson in, and I don't know how well he's going to do. So what do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I agree. I think they win this week against the Chargers at home. I can't remember who they've got next week, but then the week after is they play Dallas. So I think Fields stays on for the next 2 weeks, and they're doing they're limited offensively, really. And so what they're doing is just like, don't make mistakes, make the running plays when you can. Our defense will win games. We're comfortable winning games like 17-20 to 10. That's where they want to live right now. Yeah. It's not great for fantasy, but it works.
Cole says, "Don't listen to Truck about Justin Fields. He still beats off to his poster in his closet." All right, let's cut it out. Let's relax. Their Steelers O-line is going to become an issue. Yes, absolutely, Coles. You are 100%.
They just lost. Yeah, they lost their first round draft pick. He's going to be out a while, but I still like him to beat the Chargers and the hobbled Herbert today.
Yeah. Danny Cousins, Fields or Stafford as my Superflex starter. So I know I just talked about Fields, but I'm probably starting him over Stafford. I think Stafford has a bad week this week, taking on the 49ers. So I'm choosing Fields over Stafford in this particular decision.
Yeah, I had to start Stafford last week when he was playing Arizona, when he was without his two receivers, without all the linemen. It was ugly. He just does not have time to throw the ball, and anything he does throw short is just he has no time for down the field. I'll take my chances with Fields trying to bust out maybe 50 yards rushing. And if he gets one rushing score and maybe one passing at the most, then it's probably going to be a better day than Stafford has.
Yeah. Porter Hobson, inactives released. Justin Herbert is active. Yes. Yep. Yes, we did get that. It is in the ticker below. Justin Herbert is active right here. Justin Herbert playing. Jordan Love is out. Shane, let me know if you see anything else that comes through.
Yep, nothing else big. So, yeah.
Okay. Scott Fishbowl scoring. Corum return yards, Akers, McLaurin. So he's asking Corum, Akers, or McLaurin. Corum with the return yards gives him a boost. Shane, what do you got here for Scott Fishbowl?
I think this is a bounce. This is the bounce, not bounce back, but it's finally the game we'll get from Scary Terry. Monday night against the Bengals. I think we see Jaden Daniels get his first passing touchdown and maybe two. And I think, listen, the targets have been there for Scary Terry. It's just the yardage and touchdowns haven't come with it. So I think it comes this week on Monday night playing the Bengals.
God, I hope so. I really hope so. I want to see it. So we'll see what happens. All right, Minnesota Vikings at home taking on the Houston Texans. Houston is favored by 2 on the road. Over-under is 46.5. One of the higher over-unders for the week. Shane, what do you got for this matchup?
So we talked a little bit about Akers playing. I think if you are in a bind for your third receiver or flex or something, like I don't hate a pickup and start of Jalen Naylor. He scored in both of the games this year. Jordan Addison's out. Jefferson's playing fine, but I think this could be a decent little game, flex play for Naylor if you need a sleeper pick to take. So,
yeah, I like that, man. I like that pick. I was looking at him in a couple leagues just sitting on the waiver wire, so I thought he should be picked up. And I think Akers has a big game today. I also think Tank Dell has a big game. I know he dropped a 40-yarder last week. Let's see. Love is out, and I took Green Bay in my parlay. Shake my head. Yeah, that's tough. Hey, Green Bay won last week, all right? So you never know.
Hey, but, don't discount the Malik Willis revenge game factor, B Court.
Yeah, Malik Willis revenge game against Tennessee in Tennessee. Hey, the Titans aren't a great football team. They have a good defense, but overall, they know how to lose games. So
yeah,
I wouldn't worry about that too much, B Cork. We'll see what happens. It should be a down to the wire game though. But all right, let's see. He said I took Dallas and Bears too. Let's fucking go. Absolutely, yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think the Bears win today, and Dallas at home against Baltimore. The only problem is Baltimore is 0-2.
Yeah.
Are they really going to go 0-3?
I can't. It's hard for me to see.
Like that. That's where I'm at with this game. I know Dallas is at home, but Dallas was just at home, and they lost big at home. So like I know they were playing the Saints, but still, I can't see Baltimore going 0-3. I just can't.
And they're down 2 defensive tackles in this game. Like this is going to be a smash game for Derrick Henry. I mean,
I think so too. Yeah, I like Derrick Henry in this matchup, and I like what's his name? Lamar Jackson. Yeah. No cover 2 is stopping CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, no, you're right. CeeDee Lamb's going to go off today. I think Dak Prescott has a big game, so maybe the Cowboys pull it out. But I just can't see the Ravens going 0-3. I just can't. All right, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints, best team in football right now through 2 weeks, at home taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. With this game, A.J. Brown is out. Devontae Adams had a big game Devontae Smith had a big game last week. But I'm curious to see if the New Orleans Saints can keep it rolling here. Derek Carr is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL scoring-wise for fantasy football, taking on the Eagles defense, which is very susceptible to the pass. So I'm expecting a big game from the Saints. I think they win this game at home against Philly, and we see a big game from Chris Olave, another big game from Rashid Shaheed, and Alvin Kamara just seems unstoppable right now. So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The Saints are favored by 2.5. Over-under is 49.5, the second highest on the week. So I like the Saints here. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I do too. I think this is where Olave gets a big game that you've been waiting for. I mean, he was an inch away from a touchdown last week. I expect, a 15-plus PPR day from him. Should be a big game. That Philadelphia secondary is nothing to be scared about.
No, not at all. All right, and then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. We talked a little bit about them at home taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert is active. J.K. Dobbins is leading the league in rushing yards. Pittsburgh is winning games without scoring touchdowns. So this is the lowest over-under of the week. It is 35.5. Pittsburgh is favored by 2.5. I think Pittsburgh gets the win. But I think this is just kind of an ugly game. I really want to see how J.K. Dobbins plays against a Pittsburgh defense who's very stout against the run. Kind of curious how this game goes, but I'll be watching it pretty closely. I want to see how Justin Fields does again too. So
yeah, I think this is the one. This is the game. It's the down game for Dobbins. Like he is my sit of the week. Steelers give up the 4th fewest rushing yards per game and have yet to give up a rushing touchdown on the year. And you've got Herbert struggling with mobility issues. Who knows if he makes it through the game? I would be looking at other options for sure, despite his first 2 games for Dobbins this week.
Yeah, this Steelers defensive line is really good. So we'll see if how quickly they can get to Herbert in the backfield. But and then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another really hot team in the NFL at home, taking on the Denver Broncos. I think the Buccaneers are favored by 6. Over/under is 41.5. I think Tampa Bay rolls again here. I think they have another big game. We're going to see Patrick Surtain on Mike Evans, so I expect Mike Evans to have a down game. Chris Godwin has been the main guy for this offense, so I think that continues. And for Denver, man, I mean, what is there to say about this Denver offense? You know what I mean? They're just they can't seem to move the ball, and anytime they try to push down the field, Bo Nix is struggling. What do you got here?
Yeah, I think this is a tough game for Javonte Williams, like against at Tampa Bay. I think, it's going to be limited offense for them. I think on the other side, what I'm interested in seeing, so all week we saw White being limited in practice with that. I think it was a quad injury. And now he's supposed to play and everything, but do they use that as an excuse? Do we see more Bucky Irving, who's been more productive running the ball than White has? So I picked up Irving in a couple leagues where he was available, just on the thought of, do we start to see this creeping towards maybe a more 50-50 split rush wise?
Yeah, I completely agree. We could see Bucky Irving in action today, getting a lot more work. So we'll see there. But Tampa Bay wins, and I think they win by more than 6. And then we got the Las Vegas Raiders at home taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, is taking over for the Panthers. And I'm expecting to see an uptick. I even think the Panthers win this game. The Vegas Raiders are favored by 5.5. Over/under is 39.5. I think Carolina is like plus 225 money line. I feel like Carolina could win this game. This is a winnable game for them against the Raiders. Maybe Andy Dalton brings life to this team. And I think we see a bigger game from Deontay Johnson, bigger game from Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard. I feel like this is an uptick game. I'm curious to see what Coles has to say about the Panthers today, because I know Coles has been a big Panthers supporter. And now that they have Andy Dalton, I'm curious to see what he says.
Can we just get some clarification? Is it the Red Rocket or is it the Red Rifle?
I call him the Red Rocket.
Okay.
That's what I call him. I know he's been called the Red Rifle, but I don't know. I don't know the official answer. I think you're Red Rifle, I'm Red Rocket. So maybe someone can chime in. Let's take a vote for everybody that's watching this live stream. Are you Red Rocket or Red Rifle?
Is it Red Rocket or Red Rifle? Are you
like
Team
Red
Rocket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red Rocket.
Either way, so his only start last year, he threw for 360 yards, 2 touchdowns. So we have that to go off. Red Rocket
says Red Rocket.
B-Corp, come on, it's not Red Rocket.
Yeah.
It's got to be Red Rifle. You thought, I don't care. We'll continue to get any more chime in on that. But I am so I'm encouraged. Like as a Deontay Johnson advocate in the preseason, like now I'm finding like, okay, this is what we're going to see some good games from Deontay Johnson with Dalton back in there. I think this is a much closer game. I would be taking Panthers and points on this for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I think we're in agreements there. But with the Raiders, is Zamir White ever going to do anything? Like
if he doesn't do it today,
I'm dropping
this.
He's dropped. This has to be the matchup that he does something. So
Panthers give up 200 yards rushing per game.
Yeah. If Zamir can't do it, drop him. Plain and simple. But he's not. I'm not starting. He's just sitting on the bench because I wasted a draft pick on Zamir White. Don't say anything, Coles. Don't even chime in and say anything about that. All right. But yeah, I think Devontae Adams has a big game, and Brock Bowers. I like both of those guys. Those guys are hot right now. And Gardner Minshew is quietly I think third in passing yards right now in the NFL.
Yeah,
third most passing yards in the NFL.
I don't remember who. Oh, it was Danny Cousins. Danny Cousins. If you hadn't, I would start Gardner Minshew over Fields and Stafford. I think.
Take a look on the wire. See if well, it's a 2 quarterback league, so
probably
not going to be there. Yeah,
true.
He'll probably already be owned, but it just crazy to see. Absolutely crazy. third in passing yards. So go Minshew mania. Then we got the Seattle Seahawks at home taking on the Miami Dolphins without Tua Tagovailoa. Seahawks are -4. Over under is 41.5.
Did you just say -4? That's it.
Seahawks are -4 right now. I'm taking
Wow.
I'm taking Seahawks -4. Absolutely.
With Skylar Thompson at quarterback, so
Yes.
4 points at home.
Can you believe that? At home.
Wow.
Kenneth Walker is, I believe he's out or he's doubtful. He's probably not going to play. Charbonnet had a good game last week. Jackson Smith and Jigba just exploded last week with DK Metcalf. I'm expecting to see that again this week. I want to see Jackson Smith and Jigba and DK go off. And for Miami, I can't trust anyone other than Devon Achane. So I'm taking his rushing over, his receiving receptions over. I think we're just going to see a big game from him. And I'm not really trusting any other pass catcher for the Miami Dolphins. Although, I mean, Tyreek Hill is one of those guys that could be quarterback proof. So, we just haven't really haven't seen much of that sample size. So, but yeah, I think Seattle wins by more than 4 for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then we got your Dallas Cowboys at home against the Baltimore Ravens. We talked about this. Baltimore is favored by 1 on the road, 47.5 over under. Baltimore's 0-2, and I don't see them going 0-3. I know Dallas is a good team at home. They struggled at home last week, but, I think this is a high-scoring game. I feel like the over-under at 47.5, I'd be taking the over on that. And I think Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb go off today. I think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry go off, and we see a lot of Zay Flowers today. I like Zay Flowers and all those other guys I just mentioned. But I think Baltimore wins on the road. Shane, where you at with this one? I know last week you picked it. We picked week 1. We picked against the Cowboys. They won. Week 2, we picked the Cowboys. They lost. So where are you going with week 3? We've been on the other side of the fence.
So 2 things. What scares me as a Dallas fan is, one, the rush defense. I mentioned it earlier. They're down 2 defensive tackles. They have small linebackers, so that's worrisome. They just gave up 190 yards rushing to the Saints, so Derrick Henry could feast today. 2 is, I can't remember, so I can't credit who had this stat this week, but Lamar Jackson is 20-1 in his lifetime against NFC teams. So part of that is the thinking is they're just not used to seeing him. And so that's what I'm concerned. I think Baltimore does get the win. Like you said, you can't fathom a Harbaugh coached Ravens team being 0-3.
No, I can't. I can't see it happening. So for that simple reason, I'm taking Baltimore to win this game. But we'll see what happens. Los Angeles Rams are at home against the 49ers. 49ers are 6.5-point favorites on the road. Over-under is 44.5. The Rams are without Cooper Kupp. They're without Puka Nacua. Kyron Williams is the main guy here. We like Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Whittingham. Someone's going to end up scoring some points in this Rams offense, but I don't think it's going to be many points. I like the 49ers to win this game, but 49ers are also without George Kittle and without Deebo Samuel and without Christian McCaffrey. So you're losing 3 massive pieces to this 49ers offense. Jordan Mason has been a league winner for sure over the first 2 weeks. I think that continues this week. And I think we see a lot of, I'm hiccuping like crazy. Brandon Ayuk is gonna just absolutely explode this game. So take his over on his rush, his receiving, his yards. I like him to have a really big game. And that's pretty much it, man. I think the 49ers win handsomely on the road. What do you got, Shane?
If you just like the Justin Naylor, I would also mention if you're in a bind for flex or third receiver, I would think Juwan Jennings has a pretty decent game with Deebo out and Kittle out. So
another tick on the Red Rocket, Shane. Samuel Russell, Red Rocket for sure.
Red Rocket.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. We're going to. All right.
Any other red rifles? Any other red rifles? Feel free to chime in. But as of right now, it's Red Rocket.
It's Red Rocket.
Better change it next time you mention his name.
All right. Since we have a roadshow consensus, I will now make the change to Red Rocket.
Fair enough. Arizona Cardinals at home against the Detroit Lions. Detroit is favored by 3 points in Arizona. Over under is 51.5. Highest over under of the week. It's a lot of points scored here. Arizona was playing really, really well last week. And now they got Detroit, and this is going to be a high-scoring game. I like all the pieces in this game. James Conner, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, Kyler Murray too. I like him this week. I like all those guys to score a lot of points. And then Detroit, man, you just got so many playmakers. Jameson Williams going to have a big game. Amon-Ra, Laporta. I'm curious to see how involved he is in this offense. We have yet to see one of those big games from him. And between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, you're starting everybody.
Yeah, I'd love to say the same thing. Like, I think even Montgomery's a flex play because he had, I think it was 4 catches last week for like 40 yards. So he even got some receiving work. So
yeah, I want pieces in this game.
Yep.
So like any, DFS, anything that I can get involved in this game. I really like this game later on today. So, and who do you got winning this game? Detroit's favored. Arizona's at home.
I like Arizona.
Detroit's 1-1 right now.
I like Arizona at home. I just think Murray's playing much better. The run game is strong. They found a way to get Harrison going last week. So,
I think this is a statement game for the Cardinals. If the Cardinals can beat the Lions right here, they're making a statement in the NFC, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So it's going to be close. I think Detroit wins by a field goal. I think they end up getting the win late. But we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see how this game plays out. And then the Sunday Night Football game, Atlanta Falcons at home taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Falcons played better last week. They got a late win from a game-winning drive. Kirk Cousins looked better than he did week 1, although he doesn't look fantastic. You know what I mean? Drake London got a touchdown, shooting off into the crowd and got a flag. That was funny to see. Kyle Pitts, I want to see him a little bit more involved. And Bijan Robinson, I'm still waiting for that massive game from him. So Kansas City's favored on the road by 3, over under 46.5. I like Xavier Worthy to score a touchdown this week. And Carson Steele is going to be the running back that I would be starting between Carson Steele and Samaje Perine, but I don't think that lasts very long with Carson Steele. Where are you at with this game, Shane?
Yeah, same way. I'm going to lean Steele now. I kind of flip-flopped on that. I said on our red light, green light, I think I had no really great stats to back it with, but I just feel like this is a big Xavier. He has a big play game Sunday night on that fast turf, like some long play touchdown, and he probably ends up with 16 or more PPR points on for the night. So they'll manufacture ways to get him the ball. So, and I agree. Like, I feel they brought in Kareem Hunt for a reason. Like, they can't rely on Carson Steele to be that much of a runner in the game, and Perine's probably more on the third down side. So I would go stash him Hunt if you can.
And I do think we see a bigger game from Kelsey here. I think this is a Kelsey game in my opinion against Atlanta. So, but I do think Kansas City gets the win. I think they get the win on the road.
I do too.
And then Monday Night Football, we got a double header. We got the Buffalo Bills at home taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence on a press conference said that they suck right now, so this isn't encouraging for them going into Buffalo. Buffalo is 5.5-point favorites. Over-under is 45.5. I'm expecting a big game from all the Buffalo Bills guys. I like James Cook to score a touchdown. Yeah. I think Dalton Kincaid has a big game. I want to see so bad Keon Coleman to be more involved. That goose egg last week was so disappointing, and I just Khalil Shakir is a good flex play. Khalil Shakir is involved. He's the main guy right now, but I want to see that those scales tip a little bit in Keon's favor. But I don't know if we're going to see that. And then as far as Jacksonville goes, Evan Ingram is out. I want to see Brian Thomas Jr. He had a big 66-yard a big 66-yard play last week. And Travis Etienne with no Tank Bigsby. He's the main guy. So I expect a big game from him too. But Buffalo Bills defense has been really, really good through the first 2 weeks. So, tough matchup for all Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Buffalo wins by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree too. And unfortunately, like with somebody, as a person who has a lot of Kincaid and a lot of Keon Coleman, I really just want Jacksonville to stay competitive in this game and score some points. But I think Buffalo wins easily.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one of those games on prime time where like you're going to be watching the Washington Cincinnati game by halftime. You know what I mean? Just switch it over. Yeah, and then we got the Cincinnati Bengals at home against the Washington Commanders. Cincinnati is favored by 7.5. The biggest favorite of the week so far, and over under is 46.5. Now, Washington's defense has been pretty bad from last year to this first 2 weeks. We expect Cincinnati to just go ham this week. Joe Burrow, I want to see him as the number one quarterback on the week. That's the type of production I'm expecting from Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase being the main beneficiary, but T. Higgins is playing. I think Zach Moss has a big game. And Mike Gesicki is a game time decision, so he is questionable. We'll see if he plays. He was a big part of that offense last week, but with the addition of T. Higgins, I think they just absolutely roll. And as far as Washington goes, Jaden Daniels, he's been playing well. He had a lot of rushing upside. This is why you drafted him and why you're still starting him. I think he could have a big game today. And even Shane O'Mac said he expects Terry McLaurin to make his appearance by week 3 of the NFL. I mean, cut me some slack. Terry McLaurin has just been killing me. I expected so much from him. I think Brian Robinson has a big week as well. So what do you got here, Shane?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati just goes up big in this game, but that's not a bad thing for fantasy purposes for Washington. I think Jaden Daniels and Terry get going in the second half with some garbage time stats and both end up with better games. I'm calling it. This is the first Jaden Daniels passing touchdown game of the year for sure.
All right.
It is happening for sure.
Yeah. Monday, I'm taking Buffalo -5.5, parlaying that with Cincinnati -7.5.
That's not
taking the two favorites on Monday night for sure. So that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
But this is not gambling advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and take that as you will. Although I haven't been making much money lately, so maybe go with the underdogs. I don't know. But all right, Shane, do you have any other sleeper decisions? I'm going to go through my lineups real quick. Do you got any decisions you have to make?
My biggest call in one league is that I've kind of gone back and forth of this week is in my flex spot in a PPR league is Tony Pollard versus JSN. And what I'm struggling with is I love the game and the targets from JSN last week, but how much targets and volume is he going to get when in the second half that game could be out of hand for Seattle, versus a Malik Willis Green Bay game against Tennessee. Tony Pollard, that game's probably close all through the end of through the fourth quarter. So,
yeah, that's tough. I mean, after the week we saw from JSN, you might be right. Pollard might be the right answer there because I expect Seattle to win handsomely. So, and then we have our fantasy football guys bowl. We have Samaje Perine in right now as our RB2. We're sitting Jaleel McLaughlin, Zamir White, Gus Edwards. No changes there. We got Chase, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin. I love those 3 wide receivers in our lineup this week. And we're starting Baker Mayfield over Caleb Williams. I feel like this is the week that Caleb has a big game. And I have a separate league with Caleb Williams where I'm not starting him and I'm starting someone else over him. So I'm afraid this is the week that you wish you would have started Caleb.
I don't mind putting Caleb in there. I don't mind it. Baker with that going against Surtain, is it only just limited to Godwin focused targets? I mean,
Denver's defense has been pretty good.
I don't mind taking a chance on Caleb. Maybe there's a little bit more upside there play when we have Perine as RB2 in the starting lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a big play, big upside. Screw it. We're doing it. We're putting in Caleb Williams over Baker
I don't hate it. If it doesn't happen this week, I think this should be the week.
Yeah. And then I have a team in our Fantasy Roadshow Dynasty League that is absolute dog shit. My team, I'm 0-2. I think I'm 0-4 because we do the
League
what's
median.
It called? League median. I am just struggling over here, dude. My wide receivers are not great. I am starting Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper. But then my other receivers are Rashad Bateman, Jalen McMillan, and
Ooh.
Josh Reynolds.
Oh,
I have all three of them in my lineup. Josh Palmer's out. Keenan Allen is out. Although I can't put them in my IR slot for some reason. Palmer still has a projected total. I got DeAndre Carter on my bench. I got Tony Pollard on my bench. Zay Jones is suspended. Like this team is just garbage. And I don't know.
Did you say you have Tony Pollard on your bench?
I'm sorry. Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. Okay.
I see. Yeah. Tyler Boyd. My bad. But yeah, Tyler Boyd, DeAndre Carter. Do I start Tyler Boyd over Josh Reynolds, Jalen McMillan, or Rashad Bateman?
Oh man, yeah. And I was just doing the look because this is a decent dynasty. Like Juwan Jennings is not even available.
No, dude.
Neither is Naylor. The guys I mentioned.
No one. Jahan Dotson, Mac Hollins, Darius Slayton.
Oh no. Yeah, that's ugly.
Khalif Raymond. I mean, I am getting the first overall pick next year. That's where I am headed with this team. So, just
ugly.
So depressing. So depressing. All right, let's see what other questions I have. Picked up Kareem Hunt. We got Josh Reynolds. Nothing really going on here. One more. Coles and I are doing the edgers. Like everybody that's in the lineup. Jalen Waddle. Oh, okay. So here's one. We have who do we have on the bench that I liked? Jerome Ford or Jalen Waddle?
I'm probably going to lean Jerome Ford. The Jalen Waddle stats with Skylar Thompson are ugly to say the least.
Coles, are you still listening? Coles, are you in the stream right now? Because we need to talk about this. All right, buddy.
Yeah,
if you're not going to chime in, I'm calling you right after this because I know I have a feeling, Coles, you're still confident in Waddle, but I'm very worried about Waddle.
Yeah, I mean the averages. I want to say it was like 3 for like 27 yards was his averages with Skylar Thompson. It's really bad. It is not good. So I think I like that Jerome Ford matchup against the Giants. I mean, yes, he did get outrushed by Foreman, but should still have some decent touch volume in that game. Yeah,
I agree. Feel free to chime in with any last minute questions. We'll be signing out here a little bit early. Going to try to get out of here in a couple minutes. So I'm going to run through a couple more lineups. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. Let's see here. I have a really good lineup. I know I was just talking to the shitty one. Let me tell you about a good lineup I got here, Shane. I got Josh Allen. ETN is in my RB1 spot. Had Breece Hall. Zach Moss. I have Dobbins on my bench. We talked about that. We're expecting him to have a tough game against Pittsburgh. So following up with that, you guys doing well in your best ball teams. Coles is taking the reins on the best ball progress. Here's the thing. We dodged a lot of the injury bullets. All those injuries that came through, knock on wood, we're sitting pretty right now. So we need to take advantage of the next 3 to 4 weeks with all these injuries that are in place, and our guys need to pop off. Caleb Williams, we need big from him. DJ Moore, we need big from him. Barkley's been playing well. I can't list off the guys that are highest owned off the top of my head, but we're not in a great spot right now, but potentially in 3 weeks, we could be saying we're in a great spot. So we'll see how that works out. Anyway, so I have Jameson Williams right now. I'm starting over Tank Dell and Mike Evans.
I like it. Nope, I like it. Jameson he's getting great utilization. Great as Mike Evans is, like Surtain is just a guy who you have to pay attention. If you have somebody viable, and Jameson would be one of the guys I think that is, I would call as a viable replacement option. I'm putting him ahead of Mike Evans.
Yeah, so I have DJ Moore and Rashee Rice in my starting lineup, and then Jameson Williams in the flex. On my bench, I have Tank Dell, Mike Evans, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I think I'm sitting JSN, Evans, and Dell, starting Williams, and then I'm starting Zach Moss over Dell, Dobbins, Evans, and JSN.
Yeah. Yep.
You good
I
with
agree.
that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Let's see. We're starting Goff over Caleb Williams. Goff at Arizona over Caleb.
Yeah. That's the right play.
And then we're starting Terry McLaurin over Keon Coleman, Jordan Whittingham. That's right. There's nothing really going on with this lineup. And lastly, I have to make a move because Evan Ingram is out, and I didn't start Hunter Henry. I mean, thankfully, he only got 1 point, but I need to figure out a tight end to pick up and play. So, Shane, help me with this. We got Dalton Schultz. We got Brenton Strange in for Evan Ingram. Juwan Johnson taking on Philly. I feel like Juwan Johnson could be the
That's not a bad play. Taysom Hill out.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's out. So let's just go Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Now I'm going to have to drop someone. I got Jordan Whittingham or Tyler Johnson. Who should I drop between Jordan Whittingham or Tyler Johnson?
This is going to go probably contrarian. I think I would drop Tyler Johnson. I almost think we might see a mini breakout game from Jordan Whittingham this week. Like,
I agree with you.
He looks so good in the preseason. This will be the first full game that they had a full week to scheme up plays for him. Last week, Cup started, he played that game and then he came in. I think they will put him in those different spots that Nacua worked in so well last year.
I agree with you. All right. Well, I think that's about it. And then, I don't think we got anything else. So thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check us out every Sunday morning. Shane, how do you feel about moving to 10 a.m. next week?
Should be good. Yeah.
All right. Let's just do 10 to 11. We can go a little bit past 11 if we need to, but we're going to move to 10 a.m. next week instead of 10:30. But be on the lookout. We got more red light, green light coming up next week. Make sure you follow the Substack, thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. Love your show. I subscribed last week. Thank you, Samuel. We appreciate it.
Yes.
You're the best.
Everybody follow Samuel's lead. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. You guys are the best. And everybody knows what to do. May all of your fantasy teams win, and may all of your bets hit. Everybody buckle up.